Imagine dialing 911 just because McDonald's ran out of nuggets. We found the absolute dumbest people who think a messed up fast food order is a police emergency. From reporting missing sauce as grand theft to claiming cold fries are a felony, these calls are pure insanity. Smash that like button if you've never been arrested for a taco, and hit subscribe right now because you are strictly not ready to see how entitled these people actually are. 1. A Florida woman dialed 911 screaming about a life-threatening emergency at a local McDonald's. She was not injured or bleeding. She was suffering from a severe lack of chicken McNuggets. The drive-thru staff told her they were completely sold out. They politely offered her a McDouble instead. She took this offer as a personal insult. She refused to leave the window. She told the dispatcher that a burger was not a fair trade for golden crispy nuggets. She called 3 separate times to demand police intervention. She insisted that running out of poultry was a crime. The dispatcher had to explain that a specific food craving is not a police matter. 2. An angry man called the police to report a hostage situation involving his hungry stomach. He was at Burger King demanding a specific Western BBQ burger. The kitchen staff made it for him twice. He claimed it was wrong both times. He felt the sauce distribution was an insult to his dignity. He refused to accept the manager's apology. He dialed 911 to demand officers arrive immediately. He wanted the police to force the teenage kitchen staff to make the burger correctly. He believed the badge gave officers the power to supervise sandwich assembly. The dispatcher was absolutely stunned that a grown man was crying over barbecue sauce. 3. A furious man decided to turn a missing beverage into a high-stakes hostage situation at the drive-thru. He realized his order was missing the orange juice. He did not park and go inside like a sane person. He blocked the entire lane with his truck so nobody else could eat. He started banging on the windows like a wild animal. He dialed 911 to report an active robbery in progress. He screamed at the dispatcher that the staff had stolen his property. He refused to move his vehicle until the police arrested the cashier for theft. He truly believed that a missing drink was a felony offense. The dispatcher was just shocked by his rage. 4. A paranoid customer decided a messed up Taco Bell order was actually an assassination attempt. The drive-thru handed him a bag with the wrong burrito inside. He did not ask for a simple refund. He dialed 911 in a total panic. He told the operator that the staff was deliberately trying to poison him. He claimed the wrong ingredients were a weapon designed to take him out. He insisted officers arrive immediately to test the food for toxins. He screamed that this was attempted murder by beans. The dispatcher had to explain that bad service is not a crime. He acted like he was the target of a massive fast food conspiracy ring. 5. A dessert-loving man refused to accept the tragic reality of a broken ice cream machine. He pulled up to McDonald's with his heart set on a vanilla shake. The employee gave him the standard bad news that the machine was down. He did not drive away. He dialed 911 to report a crime against humanity. He told the police that the staff was lying to him on purpose. He claimed this was corporate sabotage during peak dessert hours. He demanded officers arrive to inspect the machine personally. He believed the teenagers inside were hoarding the ice cream. The dispatcher had to tell him that no shake is worth jail time. 6. A furious woman at Subway treated a sandwich mistake like a federal case of fraud. She ordered a pizza flatbread and watched the employee apply the sauce. She noticed they used marinara sauce instead of the specific pizza sauce. She lost her mind completely. She dialed 911 while standing at the counter. She told the dispatcher that the shop was falsely advertising their products. She demanded that police come down to arrest the sandwich artist for lying to the public. She felt that marinara was an inferior product that she did not consent to eat. The operator was baffled that she was wasting emergency resources on tomato paste. 7. A foolish criminal decided to call the police on himself over some lukewarm French fries. He was eating at McDonald's and felt his fries were too cold to enjoy. He got into a screaming match with the manager. He dialed 911 to enforce quality control. The officers actually arrived at the scene to de-escalate the situation. They ran his ID as part of standard procedure. It turned out he had an active warrant for murder. He was immediately handcuffed and taken to jail. He went from complaining about cold potatoes to facing life in prison. He literally called the cops to come and arrest him over a bad side dish. 8. A thirsty woman decided that a lack of lemonade was a matter of national security. She was at the Burger King drive-thru when the speaker box delivered the bad news. The lemonade machine was empty. She refused to order a soda or water. She dialed 911 immediately. She demanded that officers rush to the restaurant to restock the machine for her. She told the dispatcher that she was having a thirst emergency that only lemonade could fix. She believed the police had a secret supply of beverages in their patrol cars. The dispatcher had to explain that law enforcement does not handle beverage logistics for private companies. 9. An entitled customer ordered Chinese takeout and decided the food was simply not good enough. He did not just leave a bad review online. He called 911 from his living room. He complained that the food was not up to par with his high standards. He mentioned a language barrier with the staff made it impossible to get a refund. He demanded that police officers go to the restaurant and force them to give his money back. He treated the police department like his personal customer service agents. The dispatcher was stunned that he wanted a squad car to investigate a slightly disappointing order of fried rice. 10. A man at McDonald's decided that a burger without ketchup was a violation of his human rights. He asked the staff for some packets to go with his meal. They informed him they were completely out of stock. He stared at them in disbelief. He dialed 911 to report a disaster. He told the operator that he could not possibly eat his food dry. He acted like this was a national condiment crisis that required government intervention. He wanted officers to raid other restaurants to find him some tomato paste. The dispatcher warned him about misusing the emergency line for something so incredibly trivial. 11. A sandwich enthusiast called 911 twice because his sub was dry. He ordered a specific footlong that came with a special sauce. The workers forgot it. He called the police to force them to add the dressing. He waited a few minutes. Then he called 911 again. This time he was angry at the police response time. He filed a complaint that the officers were not driving fast enough to fix his lunch. He honestly believed sirens should be blaring for his missing condiments. The dispatcher threatened to arrest him for blocking the line. He could not understand why his dry sandwich was not a priority for the state. 12. A protective father decided that rude service was actually a hate crime. He was ordering dinner for his non-English speaking family. The workers behind the counter started giggling while taking the order. He felt humiliated. He did not ask for a manager. He dialed 911 immediately. He reported the teenagers for harassment and discrimination. He demanded that officers arrive to arrest the employees for being mean. He insisted that laughter was a form of verbal assault. The dispatcher had to explain that being rude is not illegal. He stayed on the phone demanding justice while his confused family just wanted to eat their burgers in peace without police involvement. 13. A furious mother used the police to enforce her parenting standards. She had just picked up her kids from taekwondo practice. They were hungry and tired. Burger King messed up their burger order for the second time. She snapped completely. She dialed 911 from the parking lot. She told the operator that she needed officers to protect her parental rights to correct food. She claimed the restaurant was emotionally damaging her children. She refused to leave until a deputy verified the pickles were removed. She truly believed the police existed to ensure her children had a happy meal after their martial arts class. She was dead serious. 14. A hungry customer decided that a lack of seafood was actually grand larceny. He ordered the shrimp fried rice from a local takeout spot. He opened the container and saw only rice and peas. He dug through the box but found 0 shrimp. He felt robbed. He dialed 911 to report a theft in progress. He told the dispatcher that the restaurant had taken his money under false pretenses. He demanded that a squad car come to count the shrimp personally. He yelled that this was false advertising and fraud. The operator was stunned that he wanted to press charges over a few missing crustaceans in his dinner. 15. A humiliated customer turned a drink error into a federal investigation. He went to McDonald's and realized they forgot his soda. He asked them to fix it. The staff started mocking his accent while filling the cup. He was absolutely furious. He dialed 911 right in the lobby. He reported a civil rights violation in progress. He told the police that he was being persecuted for his voice. He wanted the officers to come down and reprimand the staff for their attitude. He refused to drink the soda until justice was served. The dispatcher had to tell him that hurt feelings are not a police emergency. He was incredulous. 16. An offended woman called the police because a worker gave her too much attitude. The drive-thru employee messed up her order. She asked for a remake. The worker refused to do it without sass. The employee simply walked away and started mopping the floor. The woman was stunned by the disrespect. She dialed 911 immediately. She told the operator that the worker was ignoring her. She demanded that police arrive to force the employee to put down the mop. She believed that bad customer service was a valid reason to deploy law enforcement. The dispatcher could not believe she was calling over a teenage worker's mood and a dirty floor. 17. A thirsty man decided that paying for a second drink was a criminal. Conspiracy. He finished his soda at McDonald's and walked up for a refill. The manager told him that refills were not free at this location. He felt this was a scam. He dialed 911 to report a robbery. He told the dispatcher that the restaurant was stealing from thirsty customers. He insisted that carbonated water should be free by law. He wanted an officer to come and force the manager to fill his cup. He acted like he was the victim of a corporate plot to dehydrate the public. The dispatcher hung up on him. 18. A stressed father called 911 because Taco Bell ran out of a seasonal item. He promised his son some nacho fries. The restaurant told him they were discontinued for the season. His child went into a full meltdown in the back seat. The dad panicked. He dialed 911 demanding a solution. He told the operator that the restaurant was causing a public disturbance. He wanted the police to make the kitchen staff fry some potatoes immediately. He claimed his son's crying was a medical emergency caused by the lack of cheese sauce. The dispatcher had to explain that the police do not control the menu or his screaming child. 19. A lazy driver tried to use the police as his personal valet service. He parked his car in the Burger King lot. He called the store and asked them to bring the food out. They refused and told him to use the drive-thru. He was offended. He dialed 911 to report the incident. He told the dispatcher that he was being denied food. He refused to move his car from the spot. He demanded that an officer arrive to facilitate the handoff. He truly believed it was illegal for them to make him drive 10 feet forward. The operator was baffled by his extreme laziness and refusal to steer the car. 20. A stubborn customer decided that a refund was not good enough for him. The restaurant messed up his meal. The manager apologized and offered to give his money back. The man refused the cash. He dialed 911 in a rage. He told the operator that he did not want money. He wanted his exact order made right now. He felt the refund was a way to silence him. He demanded that police force the kitchen to cook. He shouted that he was hungry and cash was not edible. The dispatcher had to tell him that getting his money back meant no crime had occurred. He just kept screaming. 21. A frantic man called 911 to report a cheeseburger that was actively threatening his well-being. He was at a drive-thru and received a burger with onions when he specifically asked for none. He dialed emergency services to report this harmful object. The dispatcher was confused and asked if the food was poisoned or dangerous. The iconic response from the operator was simply asking what they were protecting him from, a harmful cheeseburger. The man insisted that the wrong topping was a physical assault on his stomach. He demanded police protection from the sandwich. He truly believed the badge was a shield against bad flavor. 22. A scheming. Woman tried to scam a fast food joint and called the police when her plan failed. She bought a meal, left the store, and returned hours later claiming the food was terrible. The manager refused to give her a refund for the half-eaten items. She dialed 911 immediately. She reported a robbery in progress. She told the dispatcher that the restaurant was stealing her hard-earned money. She demanded that officers arrive to force the manager to open the register. She believed that her customer satisfaction was a constitutional right. The operator had to explain that being cheap is not a legal emergency. 23. A desperate mother decided that a lack of pastry was a valid reason to deploy first responders. She pulled into McDonald's promising her screaming children some hot apple pies. The staff told her they were completely out of stock for the night. She dialed 911 in a total panic. She told the operator that she had a domestic crisis on her hands. She demanded that police officers locate a store that still had pies available. She treated the dessert like it was insulin. She believed the police had a tactical map of all available baked goods in the city. The dispatcher told her to bake a cake. 24. An impatient man decided that a clean floor was an obstacle to his happiness. He stood at the counter while an employee finished mopping a spill nearby. The worker did not immediately sprint to take his order. He dialed 911 to report this negligence. He told the dispatcher that the staff was ignoring him despite the restaurant being empty. He demanded that an officer arrive to tell the employee to stop cleaning and start serving. He felt that hygiene was less important than his hunger. The operator was shocked that he wanted to arrest a teenager for doing their job and keeping the restaurant clean. 25. A picky eater treated a vegetable garnish like a personal betrayal. He ordered a burger with just BBQ sauce and meat. The kitchen accidentally added lettuce, tomato, cheese, and onions. He opened the wrapper and gasped in horror. He dialed 911 to report a breach of contract. He told the police that the restaurant was trying to force him to eat a salad. He refused to simply scrape the toppings off. He demanded that an officer come to witness the error and force a remake. He acted like the presence of a tomato slice was a direct violation of his civil liberties. 26. A confused caller genuinely believed that emergency services also doubled as a pizza delivery hub. He dialed 911 and waited for the operator to answer. When the dispatcher asked what the emergency was, the man simply ordered a large pepperoni pizza with extra cheese. The operator explained that this was a line for life-threatening situations. The man asked to be transferred to Domino's immediately. He argued that his hunger was an emergency. He could not understand why the police dispatcher refused to place his dinner order. He honestly thought that the government was responsible for delivering hot slices to his front door. 27. A furious customer decided that missing a side dish was grounds for a larceny charge. He received his pizza delivery, but noticed the garlic bread was absent from the bag. He did not call the store for a refund. He dialed 911 immediately. He reported a theft of property. He told the dispatcher that he had paid for carbohydrates that were not delivered. He demanded that a squad car go to the pizza place to retrieve his bread. He insisted that the meal was ruined without the garlic sides. The operator had to explain that missing dough is not a police matter. 28. A cheap customer tried to use the police force as his personal microwave attendants. He brought cold fast food back to the restaurant hours after buying it. He asked the staff to reheat it for him. They refused due to health codes. He dialed 911 in a state of shock. He told the operator that this behavior was outrageous. He demanded that officers arrive to force the staff to warm up his burger. He claimed that eating cold food was a punishment he did not deserve. The dispatcher was baffled that a grown man could not just go home and use his own oven. 29. A passionate pizza lover decided that the wrong sauce color was a criminal offense. He ordered a fast food pizza with classic tomato sauce. He opened the box to find white garlic sauce instead. He dialed 911 to report straight fraud. He told the dispatcher that the restaurant was tricking customers with inferior condiments. He screamed that he could not possibly eat this abomination. He wanted the police to investigate the kitchen for incompetence. He demanded a full forensic analysis of the pizza. The operator had to remind him that sauce mistakes are a civil issue, not a felony requiring handcuffs. 30. A hungry driver decided that a slow line was a violation of his freedom of movement. He was stuck in a busy drive-thru that was moving at a snail's pace. He lost his patience completely. He dialed 911 to report a hostage situation involving his car. He told the operator that he was facing an immediate hunger crisis. He demanded that officers arrive to direct traffic and speed up the burger production. He believed the police should use their sirens to clear the lane for him. The dispatcher suggested he simply park his car and walk inside next time. 31. An unyielding woman decided that chicken nuggets were the only food group that mattered. She arrived at McDonald's during a busy lunch rush. The staff broke the news that the nuggets were currently unavailable. They politely offered her a burger or a wrap as a substitute. She rejected these options with pure disgust. She dialed 911 to report a dietary crisis. She told the operator that she refused to consume anything but nuggets. She demanded that police officers arrive to negotiate with the manager on her behalf. She believed the police had the power to force the fryer to produce chicken instantly. The dispatcher was stunned by her stubbornness. 32. A sauce enthusiast treated a dry nugget like a crime against humanity. He received his order and checked the bag for his beloved barbecue sauce. It was empty. The staff told him they were out of stock. He dialed 911 immediately. He told the dispatcher that he was facing a sauce apocalypse. He claimed that eating plain nuggets was a form of torture he would not endure. He demanded that an officer rush to a grocery store to buy him a bottle. He insisted that the police were responsible for his dipping needs. The operator had to explain that condiments are not a civil right protected by law. 33. A controlling customer decided that walking away from him was a felony offense. He was arguing with a manager about a mistake in his order. The manager realized the conversation was going nowhere. The manager simply turned around and walked back to the kitchen to work. The customer was appalled. He dialed 911 to report the disrespect. He told the operator that the manager had fled the scene of the crime. He demanded that police capture the manager and force him to listen to the complaint. He believed that leaving a conversation was illegal. The dispatcher was shocked that he wanted a manhunt for a busy restaurant manager. 34. A paranoid man decided that temperature was a matter of life and death. He touched his French fries and felt they were lukewarm. He did not ask for a fresh batch. He dialed 911 in a panic. He told the police that the fries were cold and potentially harmful. He claimed that the drop in temperature was a breeding ground for deadly bacteria. He demanded that a hazmat team or officers arrive to inspect the toxic potatoes. He hinted at a food poisoning threat that could wipe out the city. The operator had to tell him that cold starch is not a biological weapon requiring emergency services. 35. A dramatic mother decided that a plastic toy was worth jail time. She bought a Happy Meal for her son. They opened the box and found the food but no toy. The kids started crying. The mom dialed 911 immediately. She reported that her child was being emotionally scarred forever. She told the dispatcher that the restaurant had stolen her son's happiness. She demanded that police officers raid the back room to find the missing trinket. She insisted that this was a psychological emergency. The dispatcher was baffled that she was wasting resources over a 50-cent piece of plastic. She refused to hang up the phone. 36. A sensitive customer turned a misunderstanding into a public humiliation case. He struggled to place his order multiple times at the speaker. The employees inside laughed at the confusion. He felt attacked. He dialed 911 to report public mockery. He told the operator that the staff was bullying him. He demanded that officers arrive to arrest the teenagers for hurting his feelings. He claimed that their laughter was a disturbance of the peace. He wanted the police to issue a citation for being mean. The dispatcher had to explain that giggling is not a crime. He stayed in the drive-through lane, demanding an apology from the state. 37. An entitled woman decided that a sold-out menu was a targeted attack. She arrived at her favorite spot specifically for a signature sandwich. The cashier told her they were out of ingredients for that specific item. She dialed 911 right at the counter. She told the police that she was being discriminated against. She claimed the restaurant was withholding the food specifically to spite her. She demanded that officers force the chef to cook the item. She believed she had a legal right to buy whatever she wanted. The operator was stunned that she equated a supply chain issue with a violation of her civil rights. 38. A dramatic architect of food decided that a bun was a safety hazard. He ordered a burger that usually came on sesame seeds. It arrived on a plain bun. He looked at it with pure horror. He dialed 911 to report a structural emergency. He told the dispatcher that the burger was structurally dangerous. He claimed the meat would slide off without the friction of the seeds. He demanded that police arrive to inspect the integrity of the sandwich. He insisted that eating it would cause a public safety incident. The operator had to tell him that bread texture is not a matter for the fire department or police. 39. A thirsty customer treated a lack of bubbles like a utility failure. He took a sip of his soda and realized it was completely flat. He did not ask for a new cup. He dialed 911 in a rage. He reported a fizz failure emergency. He told the dispatcher that he paid for carbonation that was not delivered. He demanded that officers arrive to test the gas levels in the machine. He believed the restaurant was selling defective liquid to the public. The operator was shocked that he was calling the emergency line over soft drink quality. He truly believed this was a case for the authorities. 40. A greedy opportunist tried to leverage a mistake into a feast using the police. The restaurant forgot to put onions on his burger. He saw this as his golden ticket. He dialed 911 when the manager refused to give him a free meal upgrade as compensation. He told the operator that he was being cheated. He demanded that officers arrive to force the restaurant to give him free fries and a shake. He believed the police were there to negotiate business deals for him. The dispatcher had to explain that the police department does not handle customer service disputes or coupon validation. He was absolutely furious. 41. A chaotic woman decided that bag organization was a serious police matter. She received her drive-thru order and noticed the burger was placed sideways next to the fries. She did not fix it herself. She dialed 911 in a rage. She told the operator that she could not even eat in this chaos. She demanded that officers arrive to repack the bag properly. She claimed the disorganized food was a threat to her mental stability. She wanted the staff arrested for negligence. The dispatcher was stunned that she was calling emergency services to be her personal bag organizer. 42. An overly sensitive man decided that a lack of joy was a criminal offense. He picked up his food at the window. The tired employee handed it over without smiling. The man was insulted. He dialed 911 immediately. He reported a severe case of zero customer service. He told the dispatcher that the worker's neutral face was an act of aggression. He demanded that an officer come to the store to force the employee to smile at him. He believed that happiness was a mandatory part of the transaction. The operator had to explain that being grumpy is not illegal. 43. A dramatic eater treated a lack of paper goods like a survival situation. He got his greasy burger and realized there were no napkins in the bag. He did not go back inside. He dialed 911 in a panic. He asked the operator how he was supposed to survive this greasy disaster. He claimed that eating without napkins would ruin his clothes and his life. He demanded that a squad car deliver a stack of tissues to his location. He acted like the grease was a toxic substance engulfing him. The dispatcher told him to use his sleeve. 44. A breakfast customer decided that overcooked potatoes were a felony crime. He ordered hash browns that arrived slightly darker than usual. He did not ask for a refund. He dialed 911 to report an arsonist in the kitchen. He told the police that the cook was burning evidence in food. He demanded that the fire department and police arrive to investigate the scorched potatoes. He insisted that serving burnt food was an attack on the community. The operator was baffled that he was equating a crispy breakfast side dish with the serious crime of setting fires. 45. A helpless driver decided that a plastic tube was the only thing keeping him alive. He bought a large soda but found no straw in the bag. He felt paralyzed. He dialed 911 to report a medical emergency. He told the dispatcher that he was trapped in his car and becoming dehydrated. He claimed he did not know how to drink without a straw. He demanded that officers rush a straw to his vehicle before he passed out from thirst. He truly believed the police were responsible for his hydration. The dispatcher suggested he remove the lid and drink normally. 46. A paranoid woman decided that physics was a conspiracy against her drink. She noticed the ice in her cola had melted faster than usual. She did not consider the hot weather. She dialed 911 to report obvious sabotage. She told the police that the restaurant was tampering with her beverage to water it down. She demanded a forensic team to test the melting point of the ice cubes. She believed the staff had heated the ice on purpose. The operator was shocked that she was wasting emergency resources on the thermodynamics of a cold fast food drink. 47. A perfectionist decided that geometry was a matter for law enforcement. He inspected his cheeseburger and saw the wrapper was folded asymmetrically. He lost his mind. He dialed 911 to report pure disorder. He told the dispatcher that the restaurant was operating in total anarchy. He demanded that officers arrive to find the employee for sloppy folding. He insisted that he could not unwrap the food without police supervision. He believed the messy paper was a sign of a society in collapse. The dispatcher had to tell him that creases in paper are not a valid emergency. 48. A frugal man treated a 10-cent error like a bank heist. He checked his receipt and saw he was charged slightly more than the menu board stated. He did not speak to the manager. He dialed 911 immediately. He screamed that they were robbing him blind. He told the operator that grand larceny was taking place at the counter. He demanded that a SWAT team secure the perimeter and arrest the cashier. He believed the extra dime was part of a massive financial scheme. The dispatcher explained that a pricing error is a civil dispute, not a robbery. 49. A dramatic pedestrian decided that gravity was a public safety threat. He was walking away from the restaurant when the bottom of his paper bag ripped open. His fries fell on the sidewalk. He dialed 911 in a state of shock. He reported a major public safety hazard. He told the police that the restaurant was distributing defective carrying devices. He demanded that officers cordon off the area and investigate the paper quality. He believed the spilled fries were a danger to society. The operator was stunned that he wanted a crime scene investigation for a broken lunch bag. Honestly, if you haven't tried to arrest a teenager over cold fries, are you even living? It turns out the only real emergency today was the absolute lack of common sense. If you enjoyed this chaos, smash that like button and share this with a friend who gets a little too hangry. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss another BrainFumble upload. Now I have to know, out of all 49 points, which caller belongs in a maximum security prison for their stupidity? Let me know in the comments below.